Let's start talking stocks with Joseph Parnes. He is the president of Technomart Investment Advisors. You can call him with your questions at 1-800-304-3638.
The email address is money@cnnfn.com. Let me issue an apology to our emailers.
What's up?
The email was a little slow yesterday during the show. I was trying
Did you notice that you were getting emails hours after?
Well, this is the thing, is that I've signed onto the Money email today.
Yeah, you got a lot of yesterday's emails.
I got about between 3 and 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Most of the email that would have been sent during Talking Stocks arrived in the inbox.
And none of the email that was sent for your money got onto the air either. So our apologies. I noticed as I was getting emails at 10 or 11 o'clock at night that otherwise weren't there. Joseph Parnes is the president of Technomart Investment Advisors. Joseph, it's been a long time since we've had a chance to talk to you. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Our viewers won't be as familiar with you, so give us a sense of what you do and what kind of stocks you cover.
Okay. We have two sections. One is money management, portfolio management. We try to provide portfolios, customized portfolio. That means we design a portfolio management for each individual for their objectives. The other side is, of course, short text market letter, which makes a market letter divided in two parts, one long positions and one short positions. It will be issued every 3 weeks. Tomorrow night is the next issue. So what you have before you is the other one.
Very good. So give us a market outlook then. What are you seeing ahead now?
Well, today, of course, was a plus for us in the marketplace. As I have been really indicating in my market letter, I have been seeing really that the market is really building base for a tremendous bull positions because of what we have had before. Normally, when we come out of the bear market, you have some sort of a tendency first of hesitations. This bear market was long and has created a tremendous amount of no supply. And there was very little supply of the issues. Well, if you compare it to the 90s, we had a lot of supplies. Companies used to get IPOs, then they used to sort of split their stocks, so you have a lot of them. Now many of them have gone out of business, no sign of the IPOs, not many duplication or a split at all. So the supply is down. If you put the indicators, which are all very comfortable and very plus the earnings that the companies are coming out, that gives me a clue that the market is building base for much higher prices, and it's based really basically on the earnings. So you could see a sort of a sell-off, or let's say corrections, but the correction would be within the range of the channel, which probably will not be falling off. And a good example for you to watch is the three indicators, meaning Dow Jones and S&P 500 and other mid-caps plus the NASDAQ. If you look at them, they're all riding up and sort of oscillating within the 200 days moving averages, 10 or 15% higher. That normally is a good indication of the market hitting much higher prices.
Let's go to the phone calls and see what our callers are looking for in New Jersey. Quasi's on the line. Quasi, welcome to the show.
Quasi, you there?
Yes, hi.
Hey.
Hi, Pat and Ali. Thank you for taking my call.
Pleasure.
Excellent show.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question short term about Alcoa, AA.
Okay, I call aluminum, of course. You know, aluminum has really been strong, and this stock is one of them. Normally, when you have a recovery of a kind, the commodity prices go up, which we really are right now seeing. In addition to gold, the demand is high, especially in the countries like China, which is really tremendous. So these countries are really benefiting, and Alcoa is. If you look in the chart pattern, it's really came up to a much higher. Now is in the correction phase. I would say because the earnings is supporting it. Probably, if you have a position, I would hold on to it. This is right now opportunity for you to purchase. I would not hesitate to see it to go to at much higher prices. So I would put a hold on this.
Can't recall who upgraded it, but in our 1 o'clock market report, there was a real optimistic outlook on the stock from one of the major brokerage houses.
Yeah.
Lewis in Florida is up next. Hi, Lewis.
Actually, sure, guys. I would like to get your opinion on AT&T Wireless. Should I sell now or wait until the Friday deadline?
I would say it's possibility for AT&T Wireless to be taken over. The wireless services are really becoming very sort of a specialty at types, so therefore it still has a tremendous space. What prices did you buy it, if may I ask?
I guess sure if you're still there on the line.
If you're still there on the line. I have a hard time to really hearing it. But anyhow, I would say hold on to it. It's not a time for you to sell. I think in one of these days, someone will probably make a purchase offer to it.
Here's an interesting question on email here about a longer-term investment. Cindy in Michigan says, my son has $12,000 that he doesn't expect to need for 6 to 10 years. He wants to put it into shares of Berkshire Hathaway, to buy the baby Berkshires, the B-class Berkshire shares.
I think that's a very good decision because it's very solid. Even in the down market that we have had, the shares really held up very well. And if you have a time frame of the 6 to 7 years, I would say it's a very good decision to really make purchase. However, I would add, if you have to make yourself a program, like keep on adding perhaps like $100, $200 into a potty till it becomes available for the price of the shares, and keep on adding into it for that time.
The idea of the regular saving.
Oh, absolutely. It becomes like a mutual fund, because in my policy, you want to add to the positions when they go up higher. You really don't want to add position to go lower. And the market is behind it, so this is a good opportunity for him to do.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with more of your questions for Joseph Parnes. He's the president of Technomart Investment Advisors.
If you have a question, the number is 1-800-304-FNET. Our email address is moneygang@cnnfn.com.
You don't have to worry. Call me. We can do something. Call me. Oh.
Must you yatta to talk when we're sitting close together in a cozy taxi cab? Must you yatta to
You're watching Talking Stocks on the Money Gang. Welcome back.
Joseph Parnes is with us. He is the president of Technomart Investment Advisors, taking your calls and emails. Calls, of course, come in at 1-800-304-3638.
The email to moneygang@cnnfn.com. We have a call from Russell in Texas. Howdy, Russell. What's your question?
Yes, I appreciate y'all taking my call. I have some Hewitt Packard, and I'd like to find out if I should keep it or if I should go ahead and sell it.
No, I would keep Hewlett Packard right now. I think the problem for these companies, especially the commodity type of their PCs, has really gone, and Hewlett Packard is anticipating not only to increase its share in the marketplace, but also they have really brought in a good format to a point that I would say this is really the time to really accumulate. I would accumulate on any downtrend that I see, like retraction. So for that reason, I would not sell it.
Let's go to Peter in Pennsylvania. Peter, how you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Very good.
Hey, I tell you what, I was in Best Buy the other day and saw these new DLP TVs from Texas Instruments. What do you guys think?
Well, Texas Instruments, of course, a cheap provider. The same thing. The semiconductors are always forefront of any market movement, especially in the technology. In any market movement that we have had since the inception of the semiconductors, since 1948, thereabouts, has always been spearheaded with the semiconductors. And Texas Instruments is participating not only on what you have seen, but also in the wireless cells, and they make chips for that. For that reason, the earnings probably will be sustainable for the price movement that you see in the stocks. Normally, the semiconductors happen to go a little bit far ahead of themselves. Texas Instruments the same way. Retractions or any sell-off or correction is within the trend, and for that reason, I would hold on to it and even add position.
Yeah, these digging into the garbage here to find my Best Buy. Remember
you got your Best Buy ads?
These
he said he was looking at those digital light processing television sets. It's interesting emerging technology. These are the sets that essentially they use tiny mirrors that are electronically activated to bounce the picture up at the projection TV. They're expensive, aren't they?
I'm trying to
these are regular old CRT type TVs.
Yeah, they're expensive.
But you know, we got these plasma TVs here, which have their own problems because you end up this. You see this Talking Stocks logo? It's up here about an hour every day. It's going to get burned into that screen at some point. It's interesting emerging technology anyway. Washington is next.
Ned. Hey, Ned.
Yes, thanks for taking my call. I watch your program almost every day.
Excellent. What's wrong on the other days?
Well, usually I have to take a ferry over town to take care of something.
Fair enough. You got a good excuse.
Anyhow, a couple questions I had is one is my main thing was I was wondering why in this market where it's really seemed to have been going up recently, why Microsoft I guess hasn't really enjoyed that upswing. Although I can't complain, I did buy some at 25 and it's at around the 27 mark, so I'm not that upset, but I would have just thought that with the market being like a day like today up over 100 points, that it would be more than just maybe down a penny or up a penny. It just doesn't seem to have moved a whole lot in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Good question. Microsoft, we have quite a lot of it in portfolios. We consider it really as an anchor. Microsoft, of course, has become a blue chip. It's no longer a growth company that it was before. A company with a cash in excess of perhaps 60 to 65 billion and generating close to 2 or 3 billion every quarter. This is a must-have kind of an issue in every portfolio. You just have to be patient. There is a lot, antitrust in Europe, probably that would be one of the clincher for the Microsoft not to go up. I think once that is finished, Microsoft probably will make an attempt to either increase its dividend or possibly buy some of its shares. So it will be acting very much in the same form as the blue chip companies. If you go back, IBM was in the same class in 1992 and 1993, whereby the IBM shares dropped down to around $30, which is on a split like 15, and there was really nobody would buy it, and all of a sudden it didn't take very long.
Yeah, the problem Microsoft has, if you're a near monopoly business, you can't grow by picking up market share because you've already got it.
That's right.
So they have to find their growth somewhere, and they've got demand for their products, but it moves a lot with the PC cycle.
But they're going into other directions. They're going into the search engines. They're buying in others. And I guess that class action sort of a siding on the top of it. And for that reason, I think right now the managers, institutionals are not buying in the format of the growth. And I think that when the time comes in, they have to buy, they have to do something. That's why they initiated the dividends, and I think the dividend increase will be the tool for it to go up. But you're not going to see it to go up like it did before.
All right, let's go to Ross in Michigan. Ross, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for taking my call, and you have a very interesting program.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And my question is, we own share with G&G for well over 10, 12 years. Should we hang on to it or sell it?
No, I would hang on to it. Of course, Johnson & Johnson, as you know, being in the stent business, which is their main ones, is in competition with the others. Guidance in one end, and of course, Boston Scientific coming on from the other end. And they have been able to really penetrate into the market share. You will see these things happening in a very major blue type stock, which is a Johnson & Johnson is. I would very much use it again as an anchor. You know, these are the kind of stocks you want to have in your portfolio. And not only that you're getting some sort of a dividend from it, but also since it's a drug and is a must, I would hold on to it as, if there is any retraction, I would keep on buying onto it and also keep it in the portfolio.
Now, you were trying to remember the last time we had Joseph on the program.
Yeah, and we were talking about shorting. We were talking about how the average investor can short without getting into the idea that, you know, one has to be very cautious before they get into shorting as the average investor, because your upside can be much greater than your downside on a long position. We want you to talk about some of the stocks that you are suggesting one might hold short positions in right now.
Well, you want to short a stock, again, this is not for everybody.
Yeah.
You want to short a stock, first of all, that has a lot of shares available that you can borrow from, so you don't get squeezed.
Right.
And secondly, you want to see that fundamental is against it. For example, a Blockbuster was a very good one, but maybe 2-3 months ago when we took it, because we found out that the DVD was the thing to be, and people are not going to rent, so therefore their income and the growth income will sort of subside, so that stock has to go south. So therefore we took a short position on that. And since it has a lot of shares available, there was no reason for it to really go against it. And also you want to short it with a stop loss. You cannot go short without a stop loss.
If you're a retail investor and you go short without a stop loss, you really could lose your shirt.
You could lose it. Not a short, but you could lose. You could, because it could be bought out by somebody, or at least if you hang on to it, it will go on, just like you said at the beginning of the show, that you could lose quite a lot. Because in the long positions, if you put 10,000 and it goes to zero, that's all you lose. However, on the short position, if it goes against you, it could go on to whatever prices it wants to go.
So the list of short positions you're recommending in your most recent letter: Adolf Coors, Krispy Kreme, Palm One, which is the operating system side of the Palm computing business, QLogic, RJ Reynolds, and Valero Energy. Is there one of those that sticks out as...
Well, what's the fundamental problem with Krispy Kreme?
Well, again, I took it very much strongly to watch it. The growth rate. The growth rate is not going to be there as they are. They have been building up a lot of these things in the European and other spheres that are not going to give them the growth that they want. Also, the obesity problem. People now have in mind to lose weight, and that's a very big criteria. They're not going to go down there and buy the same amount that they did before to gain weight. So therefore, the growth rate is no longer like it was a year or 2 years ago. And for that reason, I really feel is a sliding, and probably it will go down. Again, you want to go out with a stop loss. You don't do it just like the first one we had, the Adolf, the Core. The earning came out, and we got it stopped out, and that's how you should do it.
We'll take a break and come back with more of your questions for Joseph Parnes. He's our guest on Talking Stocks today.
1-800-304-3638. The email's moneygang@cnnfn.com.
Time now for more Talking Stocks on the Money Gang.
Joining us is Joseph Parnes. He's the president of Technomart Investment Advisors. You can call us at 1-800-304-3638 or send us an email at moneygang@cnnfn.com.
Let's do some email now. I've got a note here on Sprint PCS. This comes from Donald in Maryland. Ronald in Maryland, sorry. But Sprint PCS at $4.25, bought more at $5.68. The chart shows us that it is up close to $10 now. Should I sell now or be waiting for a better price to buy into this, or do I just hang on to it as it is now?
Yeah. If you're short-term traders, I would say yes. It's sort of reached its sort of a price plateau. If you're long-term positions, I would say no, because really that's how you make the money. You want to hold on to this stock just as you did from 5 to 10. I'm sure the progression, it went up to 7 and then it went back down again to 6 and possibly even went below 5 and then came back up to 10. Again, these are hot stocks. The wireless are coming in. I would say if you're long-term, I would hold on, and if there is a retraction, I would keep on adding into it, because I think eventually Sprint also will be taken over as well.
Let's go to Russ in Tennessee. Hey, Russ. Russ, you with us?
Yeah, I am. I'm here.
How you doing?
Hey, just fine. I do watch your show every day. Really.
Very good. That's why you got on.
Yeah. I wanted to ask the gentleman about People's Energy. If he thinks it's a buy, sell, or hold. I've got quite a bit of it. I bought it back in the mid-'60s and early '70s, and through dividend reinvestment, it has really grown. So.
I would say since you bought it that time ago, this is very much like a holding for you, an anchor. Energy is always in demand. It's a commodity, of course. As you know, it's not going to make up some sort of a growth that you are seeing, but definitely with the price of the oil being up and the demand of the oil right now worldwide, especially from a Chinese point of view, that is heavy, this kind of a companies will benefit. If you intend to go to another stock, or at least sort of a diversify, I would sell perhaps a third of it or perhaps a half of it and put it on another blue chip very much the likes of it. Otherwise, just for the heck of selling it, I would not do it.
Let's go to the District of Columbia to Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
What's your question for Joseph?
Hello.
Yes.
Hughes Electronics, HS. The Disney is in the same group. It's the entertainment group. I just wondered what your opinion is about the group and the Disney takeover, whatever it is.
So we're talking about Hughes or Disney?
Yeah. I guess if you're talking about Disney, I would say, well, Disney got his price for the first time after all this. The shareholders are really benefiting today, tomorrow, if it goes through. Hughes Electronics, I really do not think of it very highly. I think if you have profit in it, you should avoid it at this price.
Let's go to, are we going to Georgia? John?
Yeah.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to ask his opinion about Yellow Corporation stock and find out also if the roadway merger had been completed yet.
I think the roadway mergers is in the process. I really don't have the exact date that is going to be completion, but I know it's in the process.
I think that's done. In fact, it's reflected in the stock chart on the screen there. So
that is done.
I seem to recall it being about a quarter ago that they wrapped that up. Yeah.
So you're ahead of me on that one. But on the yellow, again, the chart pattern is strong. You see a retraction, sell-off. Some of those things it shouldn't scare you unless there is a tremendous problem down the road. Again, whenever there is adverse news on it, either a downgrade or something, the institutions take advantage of that sometimes and they sell it off. And the short sellers will come aboard. They will push it down to a point to discourage you. Normally, those are opportunities to really add to the position. I think the yellow road will be the same road as the roadway, and for that reason, I would hold on to it and I would add position.
There's more Talking Stocks ahead on the Money Gang when we come back with more of your questions at 1-800-304-FNET.
Joseph Parnes is with us. He's the president of Technomart Investment Advisors. We're going to continue to take your calls and emails right here on the Money Gang at 1-800-304-3638. We'll keep that number on the screen along with the email address, which is moneygang@cnnfn.com.
Did I say that Nextel email?
Yeah, I want to talk about this Nextel email. We talked about PCS a little earlier.
We talked about AT&T Wireless.
We talked about AT&T Wireless. Tony from Alabama wants to know about Nextel. It's very interesting. He's taken he's talking about Nextel having taken the principal sponsorship for the NASCAR racing series. Do you believe the stock would be a good purchase at this time while it's still early in the racing season. And was it you I was talking to about this?
Well, my wife's flying to the Daytona 500 this weekend.
But it was somebody was telling me that it's remarkable. Nextel goes to sponsor NASCAR, and all of these people who are accustomed to NASCAR or have familiarity with it, all of a sudden equate that with some degree of growth and success, and people who are not familiar with NASCAR simply don't. It's to everybody else, it's simply an advertising deal. There's no reason why I would buy Nextel by virtue of its relationship to NASCAR.
And yet, for millions upon millions of NASCAR fans,
the average Mr. John Doe will do, because that's really what advertisement is.
I guess so. And NASCAR is such a strong brand that there is an association.
And remarkably, it has done tremendously in the marketplace, because many people thought that he was not. Nextel has been managed to really increase his subscriber base.
Did nothing for the longest time.
Exactly. And now they are in the, you know, they're really on an uptrend, as you see on the chart. I guess you don't have it, and I think is a really good buy.
You know, when are you going to concern evaluation here? Because this was a stock that was in the single digits.
Well, valuation is an interesting subject. You know, this is coming in right now more often. That's really what makes me believe that the market will go up higher, because you have this force of valuation that puts on like a little break in the stock's movement. So that's really a good plus. It's like an artificial stoppage for the stocks to run away. Again, in Nextel, it's possible because of the profit-taking. Valuation, as you just indicated, there would be a sell-off and bring it down into the correction phase. Then the buyers and the short covering again will come in, and then we'll bring it up to a much higher prices.
So you like the stock?
I would like this.
But you're not liking it because of NASCAR necessarily.
Well, it helps. Let's put it that way.
I think it's a great question from Tony, and I just think Tony needs to remember that a NASCAR sponsorship isn't a reason to buy a stock.
No. That's just a plus for it. I mean, you know, that means they have the money.
That means they got the money to spend on a big sponsorship. Yeah. Didn't you? Have you been to a NASCAR race?
Yeah, you know that.
I know, but I just did like to hear you talking about it.
My wife's going to the Daytona 500 on the weekend. Yeah.
Oh, aren't you guys auto race fans?
Yeah. Kraft's a big sponsor. She works for Kraft.
Fair enough.
You knew that.
I did know that. I just like to hear you tell the story.
New York is on the line next time. What's your question?
Hi, this is Ed from New York.
Hey.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My question for Mr. Barnes is that I've worked hard for my portfolio. I'm 24 years old. I currently have 1,000 shares in eBay. I'm concerned about the PE ratio and the government's attempt to collect taxes on purchases on the internet. Should I be so concerned?
No, I would not. I think this is exactly the survivors of the dot-coms that managed to come into board is a growth company. That's what you're really buying. You're buying eBay not because of the price-earning ratio, but a growth rate in excess of 30 to 50% that could probably last in years to come. For that reason, I would hold on to it. And in any retractions, I would keep on buying. I think this is one of the survivors of the internet, and probably would be a darling, and no reason for selling. Even if the tax base comes in, somehow, somewhere, the eBay will be managed to adjust its earnings to match up or go by the taxes.
And your thinking would have been correct all the way up on that chart. As others were saying, this PE is getting too rich, and continue to say that, you think that the stock's still got some room to move there?
Yeah, because you value a stock definitely just like anything else that you buy. This eBay is not to be valued on the PE ratio, because it's not a commodity. Everybody gets into the eBay to sell or buy something, and they have managed to really get the operation so simple and penetrate market share not only in this country but also in the foreign countries. I think the only operational objections that they have, or at least the competition they have, is probably in China or possibly a little bit in Japan, because Yahoo sort of has started down there. But even that, I think you don't want to pay attention to the PE, but rather to the growth rate, and that's why the street is willing to pay this kind of a high price for it.
All right, let's go to
California.
Yeah, I can see it's California. John. Hi, John.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm just fine.
How does a guy like me mess up the name John and not be able to read it? All right.
I would like to ask your guest his opinion of Tesoro Petroleum and also just the oil services group in general.
Yeah. Of course, the oil services group always go with the price of the oil. This is natural right now that the price of oil is up, and the reason of it being up because of many factors. One, the demand, global demand, especially in China, and secondly, because of the fall of the dollar, because the oil is being sold in a dollar value. when you see this kind of a drop, there's a premium of $4 to $5. Eventually, dollars fall will sort of stop, and eventually it starts going up. And we are heading into the summertime. That means that the price of oil is expected to fall off. Those normally have a bad effect on the services. So if you, it's a commodity as such. If you have the stocks for a long time and you have a gain in it, I would hold on to it. But I don't think it would be a good idea at this time to add into the position.
We'll take a short break and come back with more of your questions as we finish up with Talking Stocks on this Wednesday. Time now for a few more of your phone calls on Talking Stocks on the Money Gang, more of your email as well. Joseph Parnes is with us. He's with Technomart Investment Advisors.
I have a question from Tommy in Texas about Taser. I hope Tommy doesn't think that they all have to start with the same letter as his name and his state, but Taser has been on quite a run.
Exactly. First of all, they have a really good product. The stongs, you know, for the gun stongs that practically every policeman buys it and everything else. But that's besides the point. The company makes money, granted, but I've been reading everywhere that there was opinion coming out that it's too rich. Don't buy it, don't buy it. But I think the reason for the stock to go this high, and even a split, so to speak, is because of the short covering so high. Many have been squeezed. Here is an example that I was trying to say. You don't want to short a company with a low float, and this was a low float. And once it started going up, the shorts has to cover, and they pay dearly. And another example of that one would be Flex International. The same thing. They went up to 150, so this is the same thing. And they're not going to bring it down. Because fundamentally, it's got the power of the earnings, and secondly, you got the boost of the short selling, and that short selling has not been covered yet. They really get the squeeze, so you got some more room to go.
I had an email on Flextronics as well, and I want to get to one more email because Basil in Chicago was listening when we put up that list of companies that you were recommending short-term.
Let me guess, Basil holds one of them?
Basil's long in Valero Energy.
Yeah.
Says he's been seeing a trade at $52. Fair value is $80. So why are you shorting this when it looks like it should be a long investment?
If you look into the chart pattern, and I have one before me, and I guess this is the reason that they got our eyes fancy in order to go short. On 200 days moving averages, this stock has jumped out almost 30 to 35% above. The sector of this type that does not command that kind of a movement on the stock, so therefore is subject to either profit taking or some sort of a retraction. That's the reason why we have done it. And so it's a short-term basis anyway. It's
not necessarily a bet against that $80 fair value or whatever that is over the longer term, but you're saying this is just too much of a move.
Yeah, absolutely. In order to get to the $80, again, you have to sort of perform some sort of a chart pattern that this stock sort of flows through it. Chances are it will come on the bottom of the trend and start building up again, and to go ahead and then exit that channel and to go up to the high prices, you're talking about quite some time from now.
All right, let's take a look at your picks. You like Juniper, Teva Pharmaceutical, and AMD.
Yes.
Let's start with Juniper.
Okay. Juniper is a second to, of course, Cisco in the router business. And with the purchase, or at least attempt to purchase Netscape, which is NSCL, this company will be in the security, whereby any other companies that are coming to the marketplace, not only they're going to get the routers, but also they're going to get the security, something that they did not have. And Juniper has been strong in China, in India, and others, a growth rate of almost 35 to 50%, and that's what you're looking for. And for that reason, we have been positioning ourselves into the portfolio at much lower prices, and at these prices, we have no interest of getting out. Rather, any retraction, we keep on adding into it.
Was that Juniper NetScreen acquisition just this week?
Yes.
Yeah. Monday seems like a long time ago this week.
Yeah.
Teva,
a busy one, yeah.
Teva Pharmaceuticals is the second name on your list.
Yeah,
what do you like?
Again, Teva is a pharmaceutical company, is a worldwide Israeli firm, has really done wonder. And again, the growth rate in the drugs, as you know, as we get older, and the yuppies and everyone is now in the old age, and they have money. So for that reason, they're spending money. And this company has been managed to maintain an above average within the drug industries. For that reason, I think Teva will have room to go up, even as has been split before.
AMD.
This is interesting. AMD is a competitor to Intel. All the time it has been following Intel to go forward. For the first time, they have come up with a product that Intel is following them. That's the 64 bits, that the software that I have produced. And as a matter of fact, companies like IBM and Sun Microsystems, if you get Wall Street Journals this morning, they are advertising that their server are having the AMD in it. Plus AMD is in flash, which is the chips that goes into the cell phones. And for that reason, I think AMD manages to come up and make money and get much more appreciation that other companies that did not have for it. And they have capacity, something they didn't have before. For that reason, I think AMD probably could go in the mid-20s.
And even though it's still number 2 in the industry, you'd buy it ahead of Intel.
Oh, absolutely, because I think you want to have a mix for that. Again, AMD has room to grow up much higher. Sort of Intel is like a big cap type of a stock. So normally in a portfolio, I try to buy both of them, competitors and also the one coming into the picture.
I want to talk about one stock that you like as well, and I want to ask your opinion on it, Foot Locker.
Foot Locker. Foot Locker. Again, the shoe business is, especially in the field of the athletic shoes, Foot Locker has really managed to penetrate the market share, and I guess for that reason we have selected into the marketplace. In addition to that, K-Swiss as another one, and for that reason, I guess we have listed into the short text for the long position.
Joseph, nice to have you back in the program. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Joseph Parnes is the president of Technomart Investment Advisors. If you missed any of his stock picks, we'll put them on our Money Gang website at money.com/moneygang.
Still ahead on this program, a technology fund that invests in companies that aren't all household names.
We're speaking of household names. Janet Jackson, even the House is talking about her. We'll find out more about that from Myron Kandel.
Oh, that house.
That house, yeah.